Who's in? Who's in? Who have we got? Who have we got? Who have we got? Going on, everyone. Hope everybody's good. Whatever you're doing. What's everyone up to? Queen. Who is that? Been waiting for a long time for this. Queen. Rob Ellis. Horses for Courses. You know. Through the Eyes of a Child. 61. Alfie Williams. Got to be a Scouser saying la. I'm good, man. I'm good. Just keeping up to date with this fucking coronavirus bullshit, man. Apparently, you're supposed to shave your beard because you're at more risk and all this bollocks. But Travis Bickle and Daniel Gornal, fuck knows. But yeah, I hope everybody's good. Stay safe out there, guys. That nightmare, that coronavirus. You know, I know it's like people have got the conspiracy theories and everything, but the fact is, kids are dying on this shit, bro. And now it's in prison. Julie, Teresa, Anthony Ward. The beards. You know what? Like to say, I haven't had this dealt with in 2 or something months. It's all right, you know. It's my beard game is strong, but it's down here. It is getting out of hand, 1,000,000%. Russian Ball, yeah, man. Dean Lachey. Yeah, man. Just another interview, bro. Interviews. The only reason I'm doing these interviews, right, is because the thing is, prisoners need a voice, guys, right? Like I said, I don't speak for all prisoners, right? But the thing is, like, when someone contacts you and says, Cody, we need to speak, we want to speak about coronavirus and prisons from a prisoner's perspective, I've got to speak up for prisoners, man. Or my fucking YouTube, my broadband's been a twat. But yeah, like I said, it's just so done a few interviews and everything, and just speaking up for prisoners, reference to coronavirus. Shit scared, guys, for prisoners. Really, really scared for prisoners and their families, right? Because, like I said, what I personally foresee is the fact that once they stop prison visits, and I do believe it's going to happen, you're going to see riots. Look at Italy. The Italian prison system erupted into violence. Amy, she's a gangster there, boys. Tell you straight. Amy K. Yeah, with this thing, man, John Smith. Yeah, I'm good. Like I said, with this whole corona thing, guys, like I said, prisoners are sitting ducks. People can go home and self-isolate. You can't do that in jail, right? And the thing is, the whole country could be locked down, right? And I've seen conflicting reports and stuff, and I've seen reports, and like someone high up in the military has said that we've got 20,000 soldiers on standby for what we believe is going to come down the line, right? So it's going to happen, man. But like I've said, I think another 25 or another 100 or something, 125 or 25 people, some have died. Why do criminals ram police cars to try and get away, man? Bit of a random question. I hope he crashes, fucking idiot. But yeah, no, yeah, criminals ram police cars to try and get away, obviously. Yeah, I do believe martial law is coming, 1,000,000%. I know, see, the thing is, yeah, people, oh, it's all false press, mate, and all this. Kids are dying, bro. Kids are dying. Like I said, I'm all for, like, the Illuminati and the fact that this virus is to wipe out the sick and the poor. See, right, see, things like that, right? When it comes down to anything to do with the coronavirus and prisons, I need people to get me proof. Right? The facts are prisons and prison bosses trying to keep this hush hush, man. I'm not in isolation, man. I'm a fuck, man. I don't believe in all this bullshit, bro. I'm just getting about. I'm still getting about, man. 85, I believe it was 85 or 75,000 Iranian prisoners have been released. I'm good Anglo-Saxon. But like I said, yeah, more people die from flu every year than this. But the fact is, this has arrived, right? And like I said, for me, I'm not asked about me. It's prisoners. I'm bothered about prisoners. Prisoners, prisoners' families. Every time a prisoner's family goes in on a visit, every time a prison officer enters the prison to start work, every time there's a legal visit, every time somebody gets sent down, all chances for the coronavirus. It's already landed in prison. We've got 2 confirmed cases in Kilmarnock. We've got 1 in Strangeways. We've got a prison officer down in Hyde, down in Surrey. He tested positive. So yeah, it's very, very worrying times, guys. And like I've said, I did an interview right a few days ago, right, referenced the coronavirus in prisons, and she's like, "Oh, the demographics tell you a certain story. When you go to prison, you don't age, your health deteriorates, right? You don't get the same healthcare you get on the out. Prison healthcare is absolutely shocking, right? And what flows from that are prisoners dying of drug overdoses, like medical negligence and stuff like that. Prisoners have got respiratory problems. Prisons are dirty, squalid, cramped, overcrowded, right? Which are breeding grounds for infection and viruses. It's a fact, guys. Like I said, it's in prisons. You're going to see it in a lot of prisons. Trust me when I tell you. Henu Jordan, whoever that is. Right, and then I've seen a report, right, the UK system are going to release 600 prisoners. That's a drop in the ocean. We've got a prison population nearly 86,000. It's less than 1%, right? And like I've said, you've got thousands of prisoners on remand held within prisons that are going to be found not guilty eventually. Some will be found guilty, some will be found not guilty, right? It's going to go down, man, trust. But like I've said, that virus in prisons are very limited to where they can isolate prisoners. Healthcare, it's fine having an healthcare wing, but when you've got record levels of assaults, record levels of self-harm, so once the healthcare wing is full, they can use the segregation unit. Segregation unit's a punishment block, but they also house protection cases on there, high profile. Look at Tommy Robinson and HMP Belmarsh and Ross Kemp. Tommy Robinson was held in the segregation unit. And then, like I've said, there's loads going on, guys. But like I've said, there's a distinct lack of single cells within prison. So they're very limited, extremely limited to where they can house prisoners and isolate them. Now, like I said, in Strangeways, they've isolated 13 prisoners, 4 prison officers, right? Then you've got the prisoner that's been sent to hospital that I hope to God he pulls through if he's a general population prisoner. Scary, scary times, guys. Really, really scary. It really, really is. But like I've said, prison bosses want to keep it hush hush. They want to sweep it under the carpet, don't they? The facts are, as soon as prisoners start dropping dead, they'll end up closing visits. Prisoners, I believe it's a matter of time before closed visits happen. And like I've said, eventually, I believe that they'll stop visits altogether. When they stop visits altogether, prisoners are going to riot. Simple. Don't need to be a genius to work out that prisoners will lose the plot. They're already spending longer times behind the door because, like I said, if prison officers don't let them out, there's less chance of them catching the virus themselves. It's in prisons, guys. It's simple as that. Like I've said. But if you're in a Cat A prison, Strangeways, for example, where I used to be, 22, 23 hours a day locked up. I'm hearing now that prisoners are being locked up for longer. Like I said, I've heard about prisons doing controlled unlocks, which means they open one cell at a time, go and get your medication, go and make a phone call, go and get your food, go back to your cell. Then they lock you up, then they go to the next cell. Goes down, man. Yeah, I'm nobody, man. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Old and underlying health problems. And the facts are, we've got around 1,700 prisoners over the age of 70. Right now, a lot of these could be people serving whole life tariffs, which means that they're never going to be eligible for parole. They'll die in prison. People like Peter Sutcliffe. Then you've got like historical sex offences, right? They're in prison. No one's going to cry and shed a tear for a sex offender if he dies in the prison system. No. Sex offenders, paedophiles, rapists, Americans call them chomos, right? No one gives a shit about them. I don't. Simple, innit? The sad reality is prisoners are going to die from the coronavirus. Fact. Even the prison bosses in a store, right? It's a prison boss, someone high up in the MOJ has said inevitably there are going to be prison deaths due to the coronavirus. And what you've got to think of is nobody cares for prisoners. The only people that care for prisoners are prisoners' families, prisoners' friends. No one else gives a shit about prisoners, guys. If a prisoner dies, what do you think that the great British public are going to say? Law-abiding people. What do you think they're going to say? Right? They're going to absolutely, oh, wait, we don't have to pay 40 grand a year for him. Bam, dead. They don't care, man. It's scary, scary times for everyone in prison. If your loved one is in prison and they ring you and they say that they've got, they've got symptoms of the coronavirus and the prison aren't doing anything about it, I know it sounds a bit drastic. Ring an ambulance. Ring 999. Ring an ambulance. Give them your son's name. Give them your son's number, prison number. Send them to the prison. Trust me. Because the facts are, prison bosses are trying to keep this hush hush, right? You know when you see these stories getting out in the media, oh, there's been two confirmed cases at HMP Kilmarnock. There's been one at Strangeways. A prison officer tested positive at HMP Downview. Do you think the prison run to the paper and ring all the media? Yeah, just to let you know, yeah, we're from the prison. Yeah, just to let you know that a prison officer and a prisoner have contracted and tested positive for coronavirus. No, do they fuck? They don't care, man. They don't give a shit. Prisons are, when it comes to stories getting out, prisons want to push the positives and suppress the negatives. It's called propaganda, guys, right? Check it out, right? We're doing this, right? Nobody gives a shit, right, about prisoners. And like I said, when you keep a story hush hush, the idea is the story doesn't get out. So when these stories are coming out in the media that this prisoner's contracted coronavirus or tested positive or showing symptoms, they want to keep it a lid on the story. That's why if you've got a loved one in prison, right, and they contract coronavirus, or you hear about a confirmed case within the prison, ring the local media. But the thing is, it's more than a local story now. It's a national story, guys. And the facts are, prisons are big business. Prisons are very newsworthy stories, right? The thing is, a lot of these papers that write about prisons, right, they used to write, oh, it's like Butlins with bars, it's like a holiday camp, it's this, it's that, right? Now they're writing stories about squalid conditions, overcrowded, right? Record levels of assaults, record levels of self-harm. They're covering prison deaths, prison suicides, right? But the thing is, other times they will write stories. When they wrote a story about the potential of the executive release order, or the ERO, the executive release order, that idea, the ERO, the idea is to free prisoners. What do you think? It was a slow news day for the paper. They put the story out. Do you believe that there's one aim behind that story, and it is to fuel up hatred towards prisoners and prisoners' families, right? Fact. People are still, like the government, they was talking about this ERO, this executive release order, and releasing X amount of prisoners. For me, they should release all IPP prisoners immediately, right? Many have served years over tariff. They should be released. People on short sentences should be released. Elderly prisoners that have got a year or so left on their life, thing, as long as they're not sex offenders, they should be released as well. Prisoners that are on remand, they're not guilty of an offence, they're not innocent of an offence, and many of which, when it comes to trial, a lot will be convicted, a lot will be found not guilty, and they will walk, right? They should be released. Because like I've said, when it goes through the prison population, it's already in prisons, guys. Which jails have got the virus? Kilmarnock, Downview, a prison officer tested positive, Strangeways. They're the only, right? Don't ever think, guys, Officer Samad that works at Wormwood Scrubs, he is currently self-isolating, having shown symptoms of the coronavirus. So you've got 2 in Kilmarnock, 1 in Strangeways, an officer at Highdown. Do not think for 1 minute, 1 second, that them 4 cases, well, three prisons, 4 cases, That's it. Don't be stupid enough. All it means is that the stories have not yet got out to the media. Prisoners die in prison, and their family and their name, they'll take their own life in prison, right? And the name will never end up in the media. The reason is because the prison keep a lid on the stories getting out, and the families, they don't want the negative like comments on social media that come when a prisoner's died in prison. And by not speaking out and not speaking up, you actually being part of the problem, not part of the solution. Whenever there's a prisoner that falls ill in the system, right, prisoners are not necessarily bad people. Yes, there's a lot of people in prison that have got to be in prison. There's also a lot of kids in prison that before they was ever offenders, they was first victims. They've grown up sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused. And example, if you're raised into a violent upbringing and you're witnessing domestic violence and stuff and you're beaten and stuff, and you grow up and become a violent person, are you just an offender, or was you a victim of circumstance or a product of your environment? You understand? And like I said, people are not, there's a lot of kids in prison that are not bad kids. There's a lot of good kids in prison. We've made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes in life. Even the ones that are whiter than white make mistakes. But like I've said, you go to prison, that is part of your punishment. People are given a prison sentence, not a death sentence. But unfortunately, this coronavirus for me, knowing that prisoners' health deteriorate whilst in prison. Prison healthcare is piss poor, run down, decrepit, old Victorian prisons. Not all of them. You've got new builds like HMP Berwyn, which is the super prison. Super in only its size and its failing, guys. You know what I'm saying. But like I've said, nobody cares about prisoners, right? And when they're affording, you've got to think these are tests to these coronavirus tests, right? What you've got to ask, right, is right, they cost X amount of money, and now there's a demand for them. What happens? The price are going to test prisoners, or are they going to test prison officers? More likely to test prison officers. It goes down that way, guys. And then you look at private prisons, right? Private prisons, prisoners are used as political pawns, right? So that it's all a private prison, guys, in a nutshell. The first aim and the last aim of a private prison, financial gain. It's a business. Prison is not about rehabilitation. Prison's about business, about human warehousing some of the most violent, some of the most dangerous, but also some of the most vulnerable and some of the most susceptible people in our society. Like I've said, just because you go to prison doesn't mean you're a bad person. Like I said, there are bad people in prison and dangerous people. We know that. But there's also a lot of prisoners that are victims of circumstance. You're getting kids going to prison. Prison's the only place that you can go for not having a TV license. Go to prison and you don't need a TV license. But like I said, these private prisons, guys, right, all they care about is the money. Do you think that these private prisons, guys, that they try to keep costs down to a minimum so the profit margins get bigger and bigger year on year? Do you think that they are going to be forking out hundreds of thousands of pounds for corona tests, coronavirus tests for prisoners? No. When it comes to mandatory drugs testing, which is called MDT in prison, you've got VDT, voluntary drugs test, you've got MDT, mandatory drugs test. Right, they will not, right, it's just a piss test. They have the potential to these prisons, both public and private sector, can pay £1,500 per test to have a blood test for prisoners to check for steroids and other drugs. They don't do it. The reason they don't do it, guys, is because it's cost effective, because it costs into prisons that might have drug tests for cocaine and every other drug under the sun, but they can never test them for steroids, because steroid, you've got to get a blood test. You know what I'm saying? It goes down that way, guys. Like I've said, they do not give a shit about prisoners. Sorry, I'm going on one. They do not care about prisoners, guys. Honestly, prisoners' lives are disposable. This is the Ministry of Justice, right? It costs approximately £40,000 a year to house a prisoner, right? Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's less, depending on what category of prison you are, etc., etc. But approximately £40,000 a year to house a prisoner in prison. In the Ministry of Justice in England and Wales, they will pay £3,000 to £4,000 towards the cost of a funeral. So 40 grand a year to house a prisoner, or 3 to 4 grand towards the cost of a funeral. Not giving a shit, yeah. And then when a prisoner dies in prison, whether it's, like I said, overdose, whether it's suicide, whether he's murdered, whether it's the coronavirus, they will say, our thoughts and prayers. They throw out this fucking generic bullshit line of, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, friends and family at this sad and tragic time. As with all deaths in prison, a file will be passed to the Prison and Probation Ombudsman. We cannot comment any further at this time. End quote. That's how it goes down, guys. It really, really does. But like I've said, the thing is, you get people commenting on the channel, oh, if you can't hack prison, don't do the crime. Listen, if we wanted to hear from an arsehole, genuinely, we really would fart. But we don't want to fucking hear from an arsehole, so we don't fart. So pipe down and shut the fuck up, right? Like I've said, I'm for prisoners. I'm a former prisoner. I'm not for all prisoners. I despise nonces, bacons. People say, why do they call nonce bacons? Bacon, bonce, nonce. I'm a poet and we didn't know it. But yeah, bacon, bonce, nonce. In Scotland, sexual predators are called you're a fucking beast, so you are, you wee prick. So that's how it goes down, guys. No, they can't let them all out. No, of course they can't let them all out. Prisoners that are obviously serving a whole life tariff. Dale Cregan, the guy who killed Massey, people like that, yeah, Mark Fellows, Dale Cregan, Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, Stephen Port, Joanna Dennehy, people that have got whole life tariffs, Rose West, they will never ever be released, right? And you can't release them, right? You can't release them. So no, you can't. I'm not saying release all prisoners, but non-violent offenders, prisoners that have got, I don't know, 12 months left, 6 months left, whatever the case may be. For me, 6 months even enough. 12 months. For me, short sentences should be abolished. Sentences under 2 years for me should be dealt via way of a community order. Sex offenders, all sex offenders for me should be sent to prison. If you've got 12 months left, if you are, like I said, got underlying health problems, but you've got to be like towards the end of your sentence, right? IPP prisoners, they should all be released. They're stocking up the system massively and they're lost in the system. Right, if you are in prison and you have got a whole life tariff, you know you're going to die in prison because you're never eligible for parole, right? If you were serving, if you get a 4 years, you know you're doing 2, right? So the point is, you know when you're going to finish your sentence, right? If you, like I said, if you're serving an 18-year minimum tariff, you know that you have got to serve a minimum of 18 years before you are eligible for parole. If you are an IPP prisoner, you wake up day in, day out, right? And the facts are, you don't know when you're going to be released, and that's the nightmare for IPP prisoners. Imagine waking up every day. Everyone else knows when they're eligible for parole or when they're going to be released or never being released. As an IPP prisoner, you're jumping through hoops, right, for the offender management unit, for probation, and you're getting rejected on parole hearings. It's fucked, man. It's absolutely, the system's broken, guys. Looking like a wizard of crime. Honest to God, it's so long, I can't even stress. But the thing is, it's just the colour, it's George, but I'm not ginger. Fucking strawberry blonde African sunset, so. But like I've said, with these videos and stuff, guys, I've got some vlogs I need to do as well about the Kilmarnock thing. Someone sent me a story. Their brothers in HMP Northumberland. Oh, no, it's not HMP, is it? I think Northumberland's a private prison. Is it Sodexo? I think it's Sodexo, Northumberland prison. So when it annoys me when you see a private prison like Forest Bank and they put HMP. It gives the illusion it's a Her Majesty's prison. No, it's not. It's a private prison. I have a big issue with private prisons. The reason I've got a big issue with private prisons, the first aim and the last aim is financial gain. Prisoners are used as political pawns, and you've got to think, right? They get money for every bed they fill, so they never lock out, right? Then they've got because Sodexo also is a cleaning company, because it's under a massive umbrella, a massive corporation, right? They've got their own cleaning, right? You're paying them tuppence, which is, for me, it's exploitation. Prisoners should be paid a minimum wage when they're in prison if they're working, right? Then you've got to think, guys, then you've got families sending them money for postal orders or for credit, right? They're buying credit. The prison, ching, ching, making money, right? At Forest Bank, you could fall under the PPU, the Public Protection Unit. Every number you put in at Forest Bank, they clear without checking. It's a fact, right? And it's not just at Forest Bank either, it's other private prisons, right? So when families go on visits, right, then, so you're sending money into your loved one, they're spending money on the phone. The prison are making money off that, right? Then you're going in, then they're buying canteen items. Again, they're buying massive stock. The more you buy, the cheaper it is. They're making profit on the canteen for the prisoners. Cha-ching, right? When you're going in on visits and you're buying a shitty sandwich that's a cheap loaf of bread that's like 2 pieces of cardboard with a piece of wafer thin ham and a scrape of butter, right? And you're paying £2.50 for the privilege, right? They're making money off the canteen. Off the visits. Cha-ching. You understand what I'm saying? then you've got the email a prisoner and stuff. They're making money off that. Cha-ching. I swear to God, guys, prison isn't about rehabilitation. Prisons are a business. Guys, prisons are lucrative. In the last 25 years, right, people think, oh, well, crime's at an all-time high. I've never felt safer, right? I've never felt less safe, right? The prison population in the last 25 years has more than doubled. And people still don't feel safe. Guys, prison is about money. It's about financial gain. And like I've said, private prisons are laughing all the way to the bank. Meanwhile, prisoners' families that are dying in these private prisons are crying all the way to the mortuary. And the prisoner like, oh, don't worry, we're giving you £3,000 or £4,000 towards the cost of a funeral. What we fucking do? Fucking arseholes, guys. Like I've said, if you was to go on Company's House and break down the Sodexo Justice Services, right, private fucking, their cash, their money that they're making, their turnovers, right, they are on big money, right? Another reason that the private prisons are making money, they're not just making money off red badges, for those that don't know, are senior officers, right? They took red badges off prison officers, off senior officers, busting them back down to a blue badge, right, which is saving the prison money. But then the cost of food on visits is going up. Ching ching. It's all about the dough, guys. And like I've said, when it comes to this coronavirus, there's more than 4 cases in prisons, let me tell you. All it means is the stories haven't gotten out yet. The prisoner at Strangeways, right? As long as he's a general population prisoner, I pray that he's okay. Because the fact is, they don't send people to prison, from prison to hospital willy-nilly. So he must be in a really bad way. Right, so like I said, the comment you just made there, right? If you're sending everyone to prison, right? Prisoners are going to die and there's going to be rioting in prisons, right? The facts are, more things are being made illegal. There's less police on the streets under the Tory government, right? They cut 21,000 police officers, thereabouts, right? Then Boris, oh yes, we're going to bring back X amount of police officers. No, you're not gonna put extra police on the streets. No, you're replacing the police that your party took off the streets, right? So there's more things being made illegal. Right, there's more crimes being made illegal. You saw acid crime. You saw these mopeds and stuff, and motorbike crime and stuff like that. So fewer police. Community police stations have closed down on intercity estates and stuff like that. Right, so crime is going to germinate and it's going to thrive in that environment. It's not these kids' fault. There's a lack of opportunity as well. Youth services have been cut as well. Right, so like I've said, people commit crime. Some do it just to feel alive. Others do it because they, like I said, it's a shortcut to the top, innit? Quick though. But a life of crime isn't necessarily a good one. In the short term, it will pay. In the long term, it doesn't pay. Every dog has its day, right? Look at Curtis Warren, cocky Curtis Warren, right? The guy made the UK rich list, right? Greed, right? He was a big fish in a big pond in the UK, right? But he was on the police's and stuff, intelligence stuff, radar, right? He's a big fish in a puddle, right? And the police knew that Curtis Warren likes to use payphones. So they tapped every payphone on the island. He's now in prison. He's got millions and millions of pounds, right? He can spend about £25.50 on the canteen. The point is, short-term crime pays, long-term it doesn't. Some pay with a liberty, i.e. the freedom. Other people pay with a life, right? No one gets out unscathed. But yeah, prisons are going to riot, guys. I genuinely believe it. I promise you it's going to happen. I genuinely believe with my hand on my heart that there will be prison riots. It's not if, it is simply when. You've got to remember, the prison system has long been a powder keg, right? This coronavirus, and I've said it numerous times, right, could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And you could, if they stop prison visits, it'll go off within days. And like I've said, prisoners, a lot of prisoners have got mobile phones now. Obviously, it's contraband, they're illegal. Yeah, they can lock the locks, but they can't stop the clocks. Exactly that. Like I've said, they've got to let prisoners out. They can't stop prisoners from going to the chapel. They can't stop Muslim inmates going to read namaz and to read Jummah, which is their prayers and their Friday prayer. Right? They can say that you can read it in your finger, whatever. The facts are, prisoners will end up rioting. And it'll be prison visits that are stopped. Like I've said, they've said that for now, prison visits are going to continue. But I've heard that HMP Exeter, they've stopped children going in. Right, they've stopped children going on visits to see their fathers and uncles and stuff like that. HMP Berwyn has limited two prison visitors per prisoner per visit. Two. It's going to go down, guys. Like I've said, I'm still speaking to prisoners. I'm not just speaking out of turn. I'm speaking to prisoners. Some I'm speaking to prisoners' families. Others I'm communicating through via social media. But I'm speaking to serving prisoners, quite a few, up and down the country, and they're ready, they're prepared. And like I've said, once it goes off at one prison, you'll see copycat riots at another prison, and the NTRGs, or the National Tactical Response Group, which are the Tornado Squad. To you, the people that don't know what NTRG is, it is the prison riot. I did a story about a day or two ago, and it stated that prisoners, the government's attitude is that they don't really want to release prisoners. They want them to serve their tariff. They want to serve their sentence. So that to me says no. But then I've seen a figure bandied about of 600 prisoners released. To release 600. Why talk it? Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. Nothing I can do. It just goes down that way, guys. Right, about IPP, right? IPP was abolished, yeah? What, 8 years ago? It was abolished 8 years ago, right? So IPP prisoners, so it's been abolished, but not retrospectively, right? Those prisoners, there's prisoners, right? There's paedophiles that are getting caught with thousands and thousands of indecent images of kids, right? And are getting suspended sentences. There's kids in prison that have served 10, 11 years, 7, 8, 10, 11 years over their minimum tariff that was set, and they're still in prison. Honest to God, there's lifers, right? Mairead Philpott, right, who was convicted with Mick Philpott of killing the kids and setting the house on fire, right? She's due for release soon, right? She'll go before the parole board. She's still got to go before the parole board. She'll probably get out before many of these IPP prisoners. Honest to God, it's mental, guys. Matthew Ray, I doing. Like I said, the criminal justice system, guys, is broken. And it's all about money. Like I've said, the prison population has doubled in the last 25 years. People have never felt less safe. More things being made illegal. They cut the police force. They cut down police stations. They literally sold off police stations, right? And then they cut youth services, and they wonder why it's a green light for criminals across the board to commit crime. It's fucking, these people in power, guys, that are residing over, these people in government are residing over people that they can't relate to. They know nothing of our world, and we know nothing of theirs. They can grind and stuff, fucking on your ass and stuff, right? Having to beg, borrow, or fucking steal. I don't know. But you can guarantee one thing. When prisons, when the country comes to a grinding halt and things are locked down, they will continue to send people to prison. They will continue, just, prisoners are not going to be treated any better, guys. I read a story, right? I was in communication with somebody that's a serving prisoner, right? And they told me that prison officers put, this is the extent of the precautions that they took. They put some hand sanitizer on the wing. It was stolen. The prison bosses have said, we are not replacing it because one of you lot has stole it. That's prison in a nutshell, guys. You put hand sanitizer there, there might be some OCD kid or some paranoid kid with a paranoid personality disorder that thinks he's going to fucking die, right? And like I said, people are dying from this. And he might have stole the hand sanitizer. Yeah, Tommy Robinson, he's a political prisoner, guys. But like I've said, I'm not with Tommy. Paedophiles come in all different shapes, colours, race, religions, ideologies, and everything else, right? All paedophiles are a problem, not just Muslim ones. I think it's disgusting that he was arrested, though. The fact that his daughter, when he was at Centre Parks, and these three Asian men, one of them grabbed his daughter's behind or something, or grabbed her ass, whatever you want to say, right? That was disgusting that he was arrested, 1,000,000%. With Tommy, if Tommy focused on all paedophiles of all colours, all creeds, all races, religion, ethnicities and ideologies and religious beliefs, I'd have more respect for him. He targets Muslims. But then I seen Tommy Robinson in prison in Belmarsh. He was there for a few weeks and he's crying his eyes out like a little bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like I've said, but like anyone that exposes paedophiles, it's a good thing. But again, you can't say, well, all the white paedophiles, well, we're not bothered about them ones. We're going to focus on the Muslim ones. It's racism. There is a problem with Asian grooming gangs, Muslim grooming gangs, and children. But again, we can't demonize all Muslims as paedophiles come in every different colour, race, religion, ideology, religious beliefs, ethnicity, and everything else, guys. No, I've not seen that video, no. I saw something in a book. Someone posted a screenshot of a woman back in 2008. How you doing, Pete? All right. I'm back in Belfast in August, actually. Going back to Belfast in August. Beautiful country, man. Blessed. Belfast's amazing. But I saw this screenshot from a woman who wrote this book in 2007, 2008. And she said, in 2020, there will be a virus that a respiratory virus in 2020, so 13 years before the fact, she wrote in her book that there will be a respiratory disease that kills people and then vanishes as quickly as it came. It's here, it's called the coronavirus. But the facts are, like I said, when I did that interview yesterday or the other day about prisons, right, and coronavirus, guys, I cannot stress enough, right? Like, she's like, Cody, the demographic is that it's prisons full of, like, white, strong men, and it's bollocks, right? Guys, like I've said, if you live on the out, right, for 35 years or for 10 years, right, your health will be a certain degree. When you're in prison, you won't age the same. Your health will deteriorate because healthcare is absolutely shocking, guys. And like I've said, the conditions, guys, Strangeways, one of these confirmed cases of prisoners, right? The first confirmed prisoner case was at Strangeways, my old prison down the road, right? That prison has had problems with cockroaches, mice, rats, pigeons, and it's been slammed as squalid and everything, guys. Yeah, I think I've even done interviews on the squalid conditions within Strangeways. What do you think squalid conditions? 13 prisoners are now in isolation, right, because of the virus. 13 prisoners are in isolation. Again, prisons are very limited. And I think 3 or 4 prison officers have also been placed in isolation. There's going to be a staffing crisis within the prisons as well. Yeah, I am a bit biased, to be honest, because I'm for prisoners, but I do try to level it out and stuff like that. The facts are, guys, there's not enough people doing what we're doing, right? I am nobody. I'm not important, right? I am, like I said, I've not served the longest time in prison. I've never been lived off and spent that time in prison. But the facts are, right? The facts are that when I was in prison, I've been locked behind my door and you don't see fuck all. You just hear whispers and rumours. I worked as a cleaner at Forest Bank, and I was out for 14 and a half hours a day, right? And I watched and I learned. As much as I talk, when I was in prison, I watched how the prison worked. And what the crazy thing was I landed in the jail on the Friday. I was on a yard on the Saturday morning, and this screw called Lofty at Forest Bank, wicked guy, said, I didn't know him. He said, "Here, big un, come here." So I've gone over. He said, "You're the kid who does all the interviews, aren't you? Speaking up for prisoners." I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Oh, no, just all the officers are talking about it, innit?" I was like, oh. So that was on the Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, I'm on the phone, right, because my number's carried over from the last time I was there. So I'm on the phone, and then one of the red badges, which was Jackal, right, safe as houses, big Jackal, right, tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "Cody." He goes, "Yeah." He didn't say Cody. He tapped me on the back. He said, "Yeah, do you want a job?" I said, "Doing what?" I said, "Right, I'll ring you back." I said, "Doing what?" He said, "As a cleaner on the wing." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Right, move from 27, which was my cell. I was placed as high risk, single cell, to 47. He was a cleaner." So I was on the twos at the top of the stairs on induction wing. And then I've gone from 27 over to 47, and I was a cleaner. I worked 7 days a week, guys, for a whopping £11.25 a week. Then they took £1 off me for my television. I was left with £10.25 a week for working 7 days. I got out in February of 2017, brother. Don't know why I said brother, but yeah. I say it how it is, guys. Like I said, people think this whole thing, we'll put precautions in place, prisoners will be fine. And I know it's bollocks, guys. I'm very aware when you've got somebody speaking up as a former prison governor, they're going on the side of the government and prison officers. I get hated because I stand on the prisoner side. People don't like it. When you speak up for prisoners, they don't like it. Like I've said, you've got official sources: Prison Education Trust, Prison Reform Trust, Howard League for Penal Reform, Partners of Prisoners, known as POPs. There's some great organisations. Articulate. I am not a politically correct case. I say it how it is. I speak it how it is. But when you're doing live interviews, you can't swear. If you swear, chances are you'll never be asked back on that programme. The reason I do interviews now is I remember once I turned down the chance to do an interview. It was very early on. And he was like, "Cody, is that Cody?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, so we're doing a radio interview on prisons, right?" And I wasn't feeling it, so I said no. I listened in to the interview with whoever they got. And it was some Salford kid or some Manc kid. "Oh, yeah, mate, prison's sweet, mate. 3 meals a day, it's like an hotel, mate. Butlins with bars, mate." I listened to the phone call, I listened to the radio interview, my fucking heart dropped, right? And that should have been me speaking up for prisoners in a nice roundabout way. And like I said, I also own it. Like I said, I own my criminality, I own my past, right? Prisoners, right? I try to balance it. When you do an interview, I'm for prisoners. I make it very clear. I'm very aware I'm for prisoners. But you've got to balance the argument. When they say, "Cody, we can't release all prisoners," completely, of course you can't. But prisoners should be released. And when you're releasing prisoners, don't send other people to prison, because what's the point in you sparing X amount, but you're putting X amount at risk? And by sending people to prison, they could be potentially carrying corona symptoms, coronavirus, unknowingly or knowingly. They get sent to prison, dismiss it as a cough. They end up in prison, and it could spread on an induction wing. From an induction wing, if you're in coming into contact with a contaminated person on an induction wing, right? Eventually, everyone's going to get fed to the main and stuff, to different wings. You're spreading the virus, spreading the virus, spreading the virus. So if you're going to release people from prison, which I don't believe they're going to do, don't send people to prison. I've just carried on as normal. But like I've said, very, very big problem. Massive problem. But yeah, I just hope that prisoners are gonna die from this disease. Yeah, I agree. John Smith there, probably not his real name, very popular name. Right, but like I've said, the idea is, yeah, prison, when it comes to, obviously certain offences have got to go, crimes have got to go to prison. Other people, what they've got to do is they should have more faith in community-led punishments, things like community payback orders, where you work in the community for free. You might be working in a charity shop. You might be working painting a fence. You might be working as a litter picker, right? The prisoners that are going to be sent to prison on short sentences, you get no sentencing plan. There is no point sending them to prison. They go to prison, they could potentially lose their accommodation because not everyone lives with a wife and kids and stuff. They might be a single person with a gaff, they're not working, or they've been criminally active and not working, right? They don't have the money behind them. They'll lose their accommodation. They lose their accommodation, they start taking drugs as a coping mechanism or to escape the reality of the surroundings. They're then kicked out of the gate with £46, nowhere to live, and they don't have a support network. What happens? They go back to crime, they commit crime, they become lifelong criminals from a misdemeanor offence. Unbelievable, guys, really, really is. They should have more faith in community-led punishments. Like if someone goes out and murders someone and then they get charged, you've got to put that person in prison on remand. It's just, well, you don't even have to remand them really, but ordinarily, if you've killed someone, even though it's not a serial killer behaviour, you've killed someone in a crime of passion or whatever it might be, right? There's probably very little thing of them going on to offend again, but they get remanded, these individuals. Like I said, then you've got sex offenders with thousands and thousands and thousands of indecent images of children that are getting suspended sentences or a slap on the wrist. Like I said, I believe there's paedophiles in government. We know about Prince Andrew nonsense with Epstein and all those sorts of things. So yeah, there's very serious problems, guys. But like I've said, it's this virus seems to be wiping out the poor, the vulnerable, and it's going to. I believe there'll be tens of prisoners dying in our prisons. What I'm going to do, I'm going to knock it onto mute thingy, guys. One second. No, I didn't watch the women's prison thing the other day. I caught a glimpse where he was arguing over food or something like that, but no, I've not watched it. For me, female offenders don't have it as bad as males, as bad as men. Yeah, Prince of Monaco does have it, and he came into contact with Prince Charles, I believe, as well. So yeah, like I said, guys, this virus it's a pandemic. I don't even know what pandemic means. I've just seen the term bandied about in the media. I've heard of epidemic, obviously, but pandemic is what it's being classed as. And like I've said, it's led on to serious, serious problems within the system. What's a lie they do? What's that? What's a lie? What's a lie? Go on. Come back at me. And when it comes to the coronavirus, what they should do for me, they should, if you've got a person that's contracted the virus, right, they should be placed on the sex offenders wing. Isolate them on the sex offenders wing in close proximity, coughing and spluttering all over nonsense. If you need a vaccine, if you need to test this virus on somebody, sex offenders should be readily available. Women in prison, yeah. Do you know what? But the thing is, right, like I said, when it comes to women in prison, G, man, thank you for that, bro. Right? Like I said, with women in prison, I've seen prison accommodation for women, right? And it's not as brutal as it is for male prisoners. You're still isolated, you're still locked away. You've got mother and baby units for mothers that are going to prison, that are giving birth in prison. It happens. Then you've got like They've got hair salons, nail salons in prison for women. Imagine that for men. Imagine that for men. Do me a video for the channel then, Diane. Like I've said, I've had a female joint enterprise, right? Claire, right? I got her on the channel. If you want to do a video for the channel, you've got to remember I also wrote to female offenders as well, namely Mairead Philpott. Mairead Philpott used to tell me, oh yeah, well, food's this and this and this and stuff like that. And they've got hair salons and nail salons and stuff like that. So it doesn't really sound like a jail. You still lose your liberty. I agree, Diane. Diane, I'll tell you what, Diane, right? My number is on my channel, right? If you go into the description for my channel, take my number. If you'd like to do a video, right? Say whatever you want to say. The thing is, though, it's better if you want to do a video for the channel, you're more than welcome. If you send it to me on WhatsApp, I'll post it on the channel. If you want me to blur your face, I will. Rather than just doing one on everything to do with prisons, it can overwhelm people. So I find it better if you can break it down. So like what women can pack for prison, that's something that people rarely very know unless they've been to prison. But like I said, if you did a video aimed at females that are potentially going to prison for the first time, what to pack for prison, being processed, life on the wing, offender management unit, courses, the different sort of women you'll come into contact with. I believe that there's no, is it true there's no VP wing as well in female prisons? See, people are already saying they'd love to see it. Get it done, man. The idea behind my videos is to share knowledge, guys. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert on prison. I'm sick of saying it. I'm not an expert on jail. I stick to what I know. And I'm still speaking to prisoners up and down the prison system, from Cat A's down to Cat D's. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Oh, you good? Well, I believe what you're saying there referenced 2019 because it's called COVID-19. But Diane, if you want to do a video, take my number. I can read it on the screen now, and you can, if you've got a pen or you've got your phone, you can type it up. Yeah, but the thing is, it's even though it was in the 90s, it's still your story's still relevant and stuff, right? And like I've said, even if things have changed, and it will have changed from the 90s, of course it will. It's nearly 30 years ago now, isn't it? So, like I've said, but the thing is there's like prison rules. Obviously, don't steal, don't grass, all that sort of stuff. They all stay the same. But love to hear your story. See, I want more people to do videos for the channel. I'd love more people to do a video for the channel. It would help. It's not, when you do a video for the channel, it's not for me. It's not for me. No. I'm nobody. It's for people that are going to watch it, right? Like I put my channel down a lot, right? Because like I said, I've not got the biggest number. I'm at nearly 18.3 thousand, right? It's baby numbers, right? If you look at other people, right? These podcasters, yeah, Sean Atwood, James English, Big Herc, After Prison Show in America and stuff like that, Joe Gutierrez, yeah. Like, good people, man. Smashing it. Massive numbers, right? My numbers are baby numbers, you understand? But my channel at the moment is the only channel in England, in the UK, that is doing this. Like I said, there's other people that have covered prison issues and stuff, or covered this, that, and the other, certain things. But actual doing advice videos, covering prison news, trying to share and keep the knowledge. Yeah, like I said, we're very cynical, very critical people, aren't we, and stuff. When it comes to this COVID-19, it's definitely an issue. Diane, the thing is, I can blur your face, Diane, as well. You don't even have to mention your offence if you don't want to. It's not an issue. It's not about, see, my channel is, I've worked hard to get the numbers, guys. Honestly, for about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, my numbers, I was at about 1,500 subscribers. And then it just went, but because it's a very niche situation, What's up, Mohammed? I don't know what you're saying here. But like I said, the aim of the channel is I've worked hard to get the platform. Now I want people to give me their stories. People that are leaving the prison system, former prison officers. I can blur people's faces. Look back at my videos. I blurred two prisoners' faces. One of them was on license, and the other one had asked me to blur the video. They said, "Cody, will you blur it?" Of course, I'm going to blur it, man. I'm not trying to stitch people up. I want the content for the channel to support people and advise people. And like I said, that's what I'm hoping to do. It's not about me. It's about prisoners. Seek tutorial, respect, brother. The one thing I'll tell you, I don't know how to claim that money. I don't know. I used to make about £200 a month, right, off the revenue of the channel, which is shit. Better than a kick in the bollocks, but it's shit, right? And then because that my channel's prison related, right? Do you know what makes me laugh? Do you know what annoys me? I put things about coronavirus and prisons, very relatable topic, coronavirus and prisons, both big news, right? And it'll be deemed, and then I'll monetize the video, and they'll say you can't monetize it, so you can request a review. You request the review, and they'll say confirmed by manual review, not suitable for our guidelines or whatever the case may be. Then you go to a newspaper that's got someone talking, oh, coronavirus suits this and this. But because I put coronavirus in prisons, mine doesn't work, but someone else, and then they'll monetize it. So, yeah, it's just that way, man. Like I said, the channel's not even that good. The thing is, I need more people to help me grow the channel. And like I've said, the channel's not about me. I am nobody. I can't stress that enough. I'm a dickhead. I've always been a dickhead. I'll always be a dickhead, right? But what it is, it's giving prisoners a voice. That's what I'm about. And like I said, and I put my channel down a lot of a prisoner, right, somewhere in the northwest, and lovely lady, right, petrified for her son. It's his first time in prison, and she said your videos, she said your videos have actually helped me reference like prison visits and reception visits, and my son, in the weeks and months running up to his being sent to prison, right, he watched your videos, right, and your videos helped him what to pack for prison. And like I've always said, you're not guaranteed to get through with everything. Depends what they sent a load of pictures to I love one in prison. Some dickhead Jobsworth bastard at the prison, right, sent a slip back with compliments. You from Ministry of Justice, Her Majesty's Prison, whatever. You are not allowed to send prisoners pictures of themselves. Who the fuck are they supposed to send pictures of? So I remember sending pictures into Dominic, right, at Strangeways, and I must have spent about 20 quid on a load of pictures, got them printed off at Asda, put them in a thingy, sent them special delivery because I know they go missing, right? So sent them special delivery, so they're tracked. Landed at the prison. A day or two later, I get a slip back saying, with compliments, Her Majesty's Prison, Manchester, you are not allowed to send prisoners pictures of themselves. I thought, right, so I just got another envelope. I had to go and pay another £7 or £8 for the special delivery. Sent them back to the prison. They got through. So some Jobsworth prick probably saw Dominic's name and thought, yeah, he won't be getting them. So confiscated them. Didn't send me the pictures back. Didn't send me the pictures back because it would have cost money. So they just sent me a little envelope and a little slip, right? And they used my stamped addressed envelope to send it back to me, right? Again, cheeky bastards, right? So then I just literally opened it, read the thing. Prisoners not allowed pictures of themselves, are they not? Literally got another load printed off, put them in another envelope, and sent them off again. Ended up costing me about 40 quid. Hold on, 7 or 8 quid, about 20 quid, 27, about 54 quid it cost me. What's all this talk about black pudding, man? Yeah, that's not going to happen, Rico, is it, bro? Prison, obviously, are non-smoking now, but you can still vape. Am I religious? No. No, I'm not religious. I used to go to Sunday school when I was a kid, when I lived in Shaw, and was it? I think it was like some little some little church thing behind the library in Shaw, and I ended up having a fight with my sister, and we got kicked out, and never been back since. So no. When I was in prison, I was tempted to put my name down for chapel, but I never did. I'm sure the money it'll go into my finger. Joe Murray, Joe Murray, or just I don't know. I don't know who Joe is. But yeah, so like I've said, it's just a. Can I have been on an hour and 5 minutes, man? Hold on. Yeah, 1,000,000%. Coronavirus 2019, COVID-19, 1,000,000%. But like I've said, if anyone's got anybody in prison, right, and they get told what I'm after, literally in layman's terms, right, is if you've got a loved one in prison and they tell you about coronavirus in prison, if any prisoner in the system can get a leaflet it'll be on the wing on the notice board or something. If anyone can get me one of those reference coronavirus or something, I'll top someone's canteen up 20 quid or something, right? There's what I'm trying to do when someone rings me and says, "Oh, Cody, listen, there's coronavirus confirmed cases at this prison, that prison," right? I've got to take it with a pinch of salt. 9 times out of 10, people are correct, but like I've said, there are those that prison rumor mills and stuff, and it's not confirmed. So what I'm after is if you've got a loved one in prison, or you're even in prison, guys, serving prisoners watch my channel. As mad as that sounds, it goes on, right? Now, if you're in prison and or you've got a loved one in prison and you can get anything relevant to the prison on letter-headed paper signed by the governor or whoever, right? And it's about the coronavirus in prison and stuff, things that they're taking, things that they're implementing, things like that. Please get it to me, please. I'll get it in the news, or you don't even have to go through me. Take it to the local national news. You won't be able to get a dough for it, but like I said, just get it out there. Like I said, it's about awareness, guys. And like I've said, it's ultimately prisoners are going to die. It's inevitable. Prisoners are going to die from this coronavirus. I don't want them to, but it's a fact. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Inevitable. Inevitable. Prisons are dirty, run down, decrepit. Not all of them are Victorian messes, but a lot of them are run down, decrepit, dirty prisons. Even Forest Bank, right? I was a cleaner at Forest Bank. I know how dirty the jail is, right? They get their cleaning stuff in. Once you've used that cleaning stuff, they don't give you any more until the week after. It's all about financial gain, guys, profit margins and everything. And like I said, if you genuinely think that prisoners are being they're being healthcare, they've improved healthcare within prisons overnight to deal with prisoners and the potential of coronavirus and to try and combat it. No. They put some hand sanitizer on the wing. HMP Berwyn is limited to 2 visitors per prisoner. Exeter have stopped children going in on visits. Inevitably, what's going to end up happening, prisoners are going to be put on closed visits. Prisoners will kick off at that. For those that don't know, a closed visit is like a glass partition, like you see in America, where the idea is a punishment visit for prisoners that are caught with positive drugs tests or that have caught for a parcel on a visit and they've been caught. So the prisoner's family would walk through one door, you walk through the other. You can touch the glass and stuff and put your titty up against the glass if that's your thing, but you're on a closed visit, right? That will happen eventually. The next step up from that, and I hope it doesn't happen because you'll see widespread violence, is the visits will stop altogether, and the prison system will try to hold off as long as they can, because if they stop prison visits, they know there's a shitstorm. I know there's a shitstorm. I'm speaking to kids in jail. They're prepared. They know what's coming. And like I said, a lot of people that are not in the know and that are they're clueless when it comes to prisons. Not you guys. You guys obviously know, but people that are on law-abiding, but I don't know what goes on in prison. God knows. And this is the thing, man. But like I said, I've been a cleaner in prison, right? Dirty places. Like I said, that when I've been in prison as well, we don't go around cleaning fucking like handles and touch surfaces and stuff like that. You might spray the foam with a bit of thing, just like, yeah, and just bang it back up, right? But like I've said, floors, you clean your own cells, you sweep and mop the floors and stuff, right? Your twos, your showers, things like that, right? Forest Bank. If you're in strange ways, again, ones, twos, threes, fours, showers. Like I said, I used to pay. I was a good cleaner, man, and especially ours. I cleaned all the showers to a high, like, degree, but with our showers, because on our side, on the twos, on the left hand side of the twos, or showers, man, used to clean our showers to a high degree. But again, all this touching and stuff and mouth and stuff. There's a lot of kids in prison that live dirty as well. Not a lot of them. There's a lot of kids with OCD in jail, yeah, man. Right? But like I've said, how the prisons are, precautions are to put some hand sanitizer on a wing, which has been stolen at a certain prison. A lifer told me that. And yeah. Then you've got dirty prisons, you've got dirty protests, you've got germs, you've got bacteria. Like I've said, guys, prisons are strange ways. It's an old Victorian prison with rats, there's mice, there's cockroaches, the pigeons outside and stuff, because prisoners throw food out for pigeons. That attracts rats, that attracts pigeons, mice, cockroaches. So and like I've said, right, if, like they say, a cockroach can survive a nuclear blast, right? Well, I've seen a dead cockroach myself, and I've also, since I've left prison, I've seen pictures of dead cockroaches in prisons, right? So they can survive a nuclear blast, but they can't survive prison. Prisoners are not on the government's agenda, guys. And when they're talking about, when the Prison Officers Association are talking about coronavirus, they don't give a shit about prisoners. It's all about prison officers. So it's down to dickheads like me to speak up for prisoners. I really, really can't stress enough, guys, really, really cannot stress enough that prisoners are not on the government's agenda in any which way. The idea behind this virus for me is to wipe out the poor, the elderly, and prisoners. And prisoners are sitting ducks, right? Young children, babies, and stuff that have not got an immune system. They're prone to getting obviously to dying because they've not got an immune system. Old people, they've got weakened immune system. You've got prisoners in prison and across the world that might have had cancer or are missing. They've lost a kidney or half a kidney, or like I said, they've got respiratory problems, COPD, and things like that, right? They're all at risk, right? Every time there's a prison visit, and I want visits to keep continuing, by the way, right? Now, when prison visits, for me, prison visits need to continue, right? Because prisoners have a right to visit their loved ones, right? But like I've said, it's inevitable for me that prison visits are going to be cancelled. And when they do, you're going to have a shitstorm. Really, really. I don't know what's going on with my fucking broadband. Again, in solitary, you're still having contact, right? You're still going to have to be allowed out on a yard. You're still, like I said, solitary confinement, right? You've got to think, guys, segregation units are not the biggest, right? It's a punishment block, and they also use it for protection. Tommy Robinson was in the segregation unit at there, so it's minimal contact, yeah, guaranteed, yeah. Like I said, you're spending 23 hours a day locked up. Your food's brought to you on the wing and stuff. Example, in Forest Bank, all the food trolleys are about 6 foot, right? And you wheel them to your wings, but you used to see the segregation unit. It's a small little trolley, waist high. Push it onto the wing, take the food out, yeah, dish them up, blah, blah, blah. There you go. So again, but the thing is, again, with segregation units, right, you're seeing record levels of assaults in prison, right? So the segregation unit is used as a punishment block, right? So you've got a healthcare wing, but we're seeing record levels of assaults and self-harm, right? Prisoners keeling over from, like, ODing on drugs and stuff like that, self-harm, prisoners that are attempting suicide that might have been found in the nick of time, right? So the healthcare wing, yeah, you might have a few spaces. Once that's full, you overspill into general, not into general population, you overspill, and you can use the segregation unit. Some segregation units are bigger than others, but again, limited. When it comes to single cells, guys, single cells are restricted for high-risk prisoners. Goes down that way. You can't put an high-risk prisoner in with another prisoner, because if they attack them and kill them, right, it could be a racially high, right, and then they go in and then they kill them and it's on the prison's head. I don't know though, guys. Just one of them, innit? Right, do you know what, guys? I'm gonna leave it here. I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes nearly. Um, I just want to chill out, guys, to be honest. But it's been a pleasure being online with you all. I'm gonna have to start doing more lives and stuff, and more interacting and reading the comments and stuff like that. But thanks everyone for joining, and we're gonna leave it there. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out. And it's not letting me do it. In a bit.